y'all, it's Betsy, and today we have a fun video. We're going to be doing a first impression and a demo over the new Zeesea times the British Museum Alice's Curious Adventures in Wonderland collection. Now, Zeesea is a Chinese brand, so if you look at the packaging, it is all in Chinese, so I have no idea what it says other than on the front. The packaging on these is stunning. And one thing I do like is if you look at the top of this box, you can see that there's like a little spot to put your nail into to be able to open it. Most boxes look, and that seems like an odd thing, but most boxes are like this on the end where it's a little bit harder to get into to open up. So I appreciate that little detail. Each palette retails for $40. You can buy the pair of them for $78, and I had free international shipping. So this did come straight from China. I ordered these on the 1st of August, and I got these on the 17th of August. Now, so shipping wasn't terrible at all. And if you never ordered from them before, you can sign up and save 15%. So this is what the outside of the Alice palette looks like. It is so stunning, and it has that glittery snow globe effect, kind of like the Natasha Denona. And then this is what the inside of the Alice palette looks like. Very, very pretty. And there's 12 shades in each, or they say that there's 12. To me, like on the Alice palette, it's really not 12. Same thing because of the way that the sides are done. This is the Queen of Hearts palette. So pretty. And then again, when you open her up, she looks like this. So we're gonna go ahead and start off by swatching. We're gonna start off by swatching the Red Queen palette. So they feel really nice. So we've got the red shade, there are no names, the black shade, the yellow shade, which the black shade has, I'm not sure if you can tell, but it's got some purple glitter in it. And then the last shade is like an iridescent pressed glitter that has hearts and stars. So there's the red shade, the black shade, the yellow shade, and the pressed glitter. Wipe the tips of my fingers off. Okay, next we're gonna go into this yellow orange corally kind of duochrome. Look how pretty that is. So reflective. The burgundy, that salmony pink color, and then the cream shade. Oh, that is beautiful. Okay. Now, we got a couple more shades to do. We got the brown shade, and then this beautiful iridescent duochrome. And then I'm guessing with the checkered board one, I'm not sure how you would do it other than swatching it all together. Oh, that is actually really pretty when you swatch it together. So we've got the brown, the white, and then the swatch together. That is stunning. And they're very pigmented, which is kind of surprising because typically a lot of Asian makeup doesn't like a lot of pigment. Like all the other, like the Kaja Bento boxes and things like that, K-Beauty and like J-Beauty are typically much softer. So this is the Alice palette. So we'll go ahead and swatch the blue, the white, the orange, and then this pressed glitter is like a blue, and it has some bows and stars and all kinds of stuff. So there's the blue, the white, the orange, and the pressed glitter. Next up we have like a navy blue shimmer. I wish there were names, but there's not. This beautiful gold. that jade kind of green shade. It's almost like an emerald, but not as deep. So there's the navy, oh, that's swatched beautifully. The gold, the green, and the off-white. So some of these colors do overlap. And then we've got this red, the brown, and then when you mix the two together, which is a beautiful sky blue. So there's the red, the brown, and the sky blue. So very, 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 very pretty. But I think what I'm gonna do today is mix both of the eyeshadow palettes together, because I think that's the only way I'm going to really get a complete look and be able to use some colors with it. And it does come with a brush. The brush is nice and small and it feels soft, so we'll test that out too. Because I think I'm wanting to do, because there's like the yellow in here, and then there's some orange and red. So I think we're gonna do, and it matches my shirt, I think we're gonna do some of the yellows and reds. I think that'll be fun. So first thing we're gonna go ahead and do is prime my eyelids. This is the Anastasia eyelid primer. It is not my favorite. It is super duper liquidy and very, very pale. I mean, it does a good job of what it's supposed to do, but it's a little bit too pale for my eyelids, but it still does a good job. If you're lighter than me, it works better. And if you're, I had someone ask me why I used eyeshadow primer. We use eyeshadow primer to give a place for our eyeshadows to stick. Plus, if it has some color base to it like this one does, it gives it a nice place to, it helps even out your eyeshadow. So that is very, again, it's not my favorite. You can't really control how much you get. So now I look rather ghostly, but it's okay. We're still gonna play. So I think what we're gonna start off by doing is taking the club shade. No, I think we're gonna start off with the yellow from the Queen of Hearts to kind of build it up from there. Not a bad yellow. Not the most pigmented yellow once you get it over the primer, but I think this can definitely be built up to something. I am gonna swap for a big boy brush. This is the ColourPop E15. It's just a nice big blender because I want this to be my transition shade, but I want it to be very blended out towards my crease, up towards my brow bone. Now there is a lot of kick up in the pan, but who is it? Patrick Ta says, typically if there is a kick up, that shows that there is nice blendability between it. I'm not sure how true that statement is, but you know, Patrick Ta says it and he's a wonderful makeup artist. We're gonna choose to listen to Patrick Ta. But I mean, that's part of the reason why I always do my eye makeup first anyway, is because when you're talking about doing, especially colorful makeup, if you have fallout, it's much easier to clean it up before your foundation. Okay, so that looks pretty good. So I think I'm gonna go into a smaller brush. This is the E33 by Sigma, and we're gonna go into the orange shade from the Alice palette and use that just to keep building up our crease, and that is pretty. Very, very pretty. because if I want it to be a more colorful look, I have to kind of blend it together, because I mean, I'm not always like, I don't want to mix blue and orange together, and this is kind of what the Alice palette is. That sort of reminds me of the Houston Astros, which they're a good baseball team, I guess. I'm not much for sports, but again, I'm not much for sports, so I don't want sports colors on my eyes. But so far, that looks pretty good, actually. Pull up my mirror so I can look a little closer. It is sheer. The eyeshadows are sheer, I will say that. I mean, they are definitely not the most pigmented. It is definitely not solid orange or solid yellow. It is not like the Sydney Grace palette that I used yesterday, but they're not bad. And I think that for a lot of people, this will be, if you're looking for more of like a beginner friendly eyeshadow, this isn't a bad formula. So I think what we're going to go ahead and do is now go into the red shade in here. I'm going to use the same brush I used with the orange. So that is more of like your true red, and just build up the crease even more, but keeping, instead of blending that up, I am definitely keeping the edge right in the crease. But I am a huge Disney fanatic, and I know Lewis Carroll is who wrote Alice in Wonderland, but it is some of them are Disney movies. So, right, it's Lewis Carroll that wrote Alice in Wonderland. Now I've got myself second guessing. But now I think we're gonna go into, and there is some major fallout. I feel like this eye look is going very Hot Cheeto. I'm going to keep the same brush, the E33, and go into that deeper red that's in the Queen of Hearts palette. And just build up that crease. Now, one thing I am noticing about these eyeshadows is they're beautiful on their own, but I'm not sure if I'm getting the best blend out of them. And these are brushes that I use all the time. These are, it's almost as if they're wanting to muddy together a little bit, which, especially when you're doing a yellow-orange gradient, should be something very easy for them to do. So, not sure how much I love them, considering how much fallout I am getting. Like, I am scared now to put these on my lower lash line because there is so much fallout. I'm gonna go into the darker brown shade and see if I can save this eye look and give it a little bit more depth. But you can see, like, just by looking at my eyes, how they look right now, you can't tell that this is my 5th color of eyeshadow to use on here, other than the mess below my eyes. And when I'm blending, it's kind of blending away to not much of anything. Like, let's go ahead and do a shimmer on the lid. this might be the type of eyeshadow palette that you have to start with your deepest color and pack it on and not do a whole lot of blending, or for your more simple eye looks. But I'm not sure if you can see it on camera, but there's not a whole lot of smoothness to it. That doesn't make me happy. I mean, they're beautiful, and there are certain parts of it I think that I would get use out of, but especially these mattes, they're kind of bad. So right now I'm just using a ColourPop brush, is that the E3 brush, just a flat lid brush. And we're gonna play with some shimmers to hopefully save this look. So I think I'm gonna dig into the deep burgundy first and place that on the outermost portion of my eyelid. Now the shimmers are good. The shimmers are really good. I mean, they're not the most foiled things ever, but I mean, they're applying nicely. So now I think I'm going to go into the gold shade from this palette. And blend that together. I mean, and y'all seen me do videos. Maybe, maybe not, but I had high hopes. My husband bought these for me and spent a lot of money. The shimmers are doing much better. See, I try to stay positive about eyeshadow, but when it's this bad. So last but not least, we're gonna go into the orangey yellow shade from the Queen of Hearts palette, which looks like this. That is one of my favorites to swatch. That added some brightness to the inner corner. And some much needed sparkle. I think I'm going to try to take some of this pressed glitter, which I'm pretty sure is not eye safe because there's not really any pressed glitters that are. And just press it all over the lid to kind of give it a little something extra. Okay, so that's about as good as I think we're gonna get right now. I'm gonna go off and do my lower lash line, and then we'll come back and I'll do the rest of my makeup, come back and do my lower lash line, and then I'll give you my final thoughts. I'm back. I have the rest of my face on other than highlight because I figured we would see about using this red and pink, kind of blend it together and see if we could give ourselves a little bit of highlight that way. And honestly, the more I have sat and looked at my face, the less and less I like these eyeshadows. Honestly, I'm just not loving it. Let's go ahead and finish out our lower lash line, and I will kind of explain why. I'm just going to take the E33 brush and go into the brown shade, and I'm just going to use the one color right now under my eyes because everything else is kind of falling apart. And I know with the lights and things like that, you're not going to be able to tell on camera, but the shimmers that were on my lid have pretty much disappeared. And I don't know if it's because of the pressed glitter or not. But again, if you can't use it, then what's the point of putting it in there? So I'm going to take the flaky duochrome, it's right here, and use that as my inner corner highlight. But even then, like, if you purchase these and you've had a better result, please tell me. But they are just some of the worst eyeshadows I think I have ever used. I just don't think that they're worth it. And I could be wrong, and someone please tell me if I am. But I mean, I do eyeshadow all the time and have never had this issue. Now we'll probably try to use them a couple of times in other looks, but I'm not gonna make any promises because I had such a bad experience with it right now that the only part of it that I think that could possibly be anything worth it is the shimmers, and they weren't even that good. Like, they weren't super reflective. They're performed okay. It's just for a $40 palette, which is what this is, what you're paying for is packaging, which is stunning, absolutely stunning. Would I recommend anybody purchase from this brand at this point? No. This has really turned me off to the brand. As I said, I think that the packaging is absolutely stunning. I think the color concepts are gorgeous. I just don't think anything performed the way that it was supposed to. Like, if you look at these eyes, it looks like I've never blended an eyeshadow a day in my life. And I'm not the world's best at makeup, but this is not the quality that I put out. So maybe I need to use a different primer, who knows? But again, I don't want to have to work that hard for makeup. So if you like this video, don't forget to give it a big thumbs up. Tomorrow we're going to be talking about the new Pat McGrath palette. I caught these in early and I was excited to film this, and now I'm kind of like, ooh. But don't forget to check me out on all my social media: Facebook, Snapchat, Twitter, and Instagram. But I guess that's it. So we shall see y'all tomorrow. Bye.